The question today is, are we in the new covenant? I was listening to this debate between two Hebrew Israelites. It was a very good conversation. It was polite. It was over an hour long. One was trying to say we were in the new covenant or partially in the new covenant. And then the other one, I think, was trying to say we weren't in the new covenant, but it really wasn't clear. This video is not going to be for Christians, right, who really believe we're already in the new covenant. I really don't know what to say for people like that, because if you don't really understand why there is a debate, then you really haven't read the Bible in full, and you don't really understand much about the Bible. To think that we are already in the new covenant fully means you have not read the Bible. The new covenant is with Israel, and it's with the entire nation, all 12 tribes of Israel. And at that time, there will be a time of peace for the entire nation. So let's go through the Bible. This is just for people who really want to understand what the Bible actually says about whether we are in the new covenant or not. Let's start by reading Matthew 26, verse 27. This is talking about Christ. And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, the disciples, saying, "Drink ye all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remissions of sins. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until the day when I drink it with you in my Father's kingdom." When Christians look at this, they say, hey, we're in the New Testament, give thanks, blood, he died, rose again, we're in the New Testament, and it's for everybody. If you really want to study the Bible, you have to read all three verses in its entirety. And when you look at verse 29, he says, "I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until the day when I drink it with you in my Father's kingdom." He's letting you know the covenant begins in the kingdom. The initial celebration is of his death. The second celebration, it will be in the kingdom. I think the disconnect with Hebrew Israelites is the fact is that the end of one covenant does not automatically start the new covenant. There's a gap between the first covenant and the second covenant, and the gap is the destruction of Israel. In the first covenant, Israel is protected. In the gap, all hell is going to break loose on the children of Israel, which we are currently in. So we are in this process. We're not under the old covenant, and we're not under any new covenant as a nation, as a group. We still have to keep the laws of the old covenant, because even in the new covenant, those laws must be kept. To show that we're in a gap where the laws must be kept, but not all the laws need to be kept, because why? We're not in Jerusalem, and the feast days were to be kept in a specific place with priests. So there's no more sacrificial laws. Those are temporarily on hold. So let's read Hosea chapter 2, verse 11. "I will cause her mirth to cease, her feast days, her new moons, and her Sabbaths, and her solemn feasts." Very simply, there's a period of time when the Most High is going to end all those, and that's what we're in now. And that ended not when Christ died. That did not end when Christ was resurrected. That ended in 70 AD when the destruction of the temple took place. When you read in the book of Acts, Paul is still keeping the feast days. He's still going up to Jerusalem. Matter of fact, let's read that. Acts 18:21, and this is Paul speaking, "But bade them farewell, saying, I must at all means keep the feast that cometh in Jerusalem. But I will return again unto you, if Elohim will." And he sailed from Ephesus. Paul is saying that he must keep the feast that is in Jerusalem. He didn't say, I think, I want to, it's a good idea. The temple was still standing, so all the laws given by Moses are all still intact. Christ dying and his resurrection has to do with, one, the 10 tribes of Israel that were cast off. How can they come back in? They need forgiveness for sins that could not be forgiven. That's what Christ came for. And for us as individuals, or as the Israelites as individuals who were going to be alive while there is no kingdom present and there is no temple standing in Jerusalem. How can we get forgiveness during this time period when there is neither an old covenant nor a new covenant? Hosea chapter 2, verse 12. Let's continue reading. "I will destroy her vines and her fig trees. Wherefore she hath said, These are my rewards that my lovers have given me, and I will make them a forest as the beast of the field, and shall eat them." So the Most High is promising to destroy Israel and take away their feast days. 13. "And I will visit upon her the days of Balaam, where she burned incense to them, and decked herself with her earrings and her jewels. And she went after her lovers, and forget me, says the Most High." So the reason why the Most High is going to punish them is because of what they did. And what they did was worship other gods. And he calls it adultery. That's what adultery is in this aspect, is loving somebody else besides the Most High. Verse 14, "Therefore, behold, I will allure her and bring her into the wilderness and speak comfortably unto her." This is the 1,000-year reign. This is when the new covenant will begin to take place. the 1,000-year reign after Christ comes back. But what happens at this point? The Israelites who are alive during this time must be taught the commandments again. There will be a third temple erected, and the sacrifices will continue. Verse 15, and I will give her her vineyard from there, and a valley of Achor for a door of hope. And she shall sing there as in the days of her youth, and as the day when she came up out of the land of Egypt. This is the second Exodus. The second Exodus, just like the first Exodus, you go into the wilderness before you enter the land of Israel. They will go into another wilderness before they enter Israel again. Just because you're gathered during this time doesn't mean that you make it. Just like the Israelites who left the first Egypt, only 2 made it. Verse 16, and it shall be at that day, says the Most High, that thou shalt call me Ishai, and shall not call me no more Baali. For I will take away the names of Baalim out of her mouth, and they shall no more be remembered by their name. We will no more use terms like God, the Most High, Lord. We will no longer use those terms. We will have the proper name at this point, but to call the Most High by. All the names, Yahweh, Yahushai, are not the names. We will get the proper names in this day. And he will take the other old names out of our mouths, means that we no longer use them. Verse 18, and in that day I will make a covenant for them of the beasts of the field, and with the fowls of heaven, and with the creeping things of the ground. And I will break the bow of the sword and battle out of the earth, and I will make them lie down safely. This is all about the second covenant. When you compare this with what Christ said, is that in the kingdom, I will not drink wine again until I drink it with you in the kingdom. The wine represents his blood, which is the new covenant, but it is not until the kingdom is set up. Christians want to just wash this over and say that we're in the new covenant now. No, we are not in the new covenant. So to sum this all up, the new covenant is not started yet. The new covenant will be established when the kingdom is set up. But right now we are still under the old covenant, but we cannot keep all the laws at this point because we have no temple. There is no sacrificing. We have forgiveness of sins through Christ, but that doesn't mean that we can sin as much as we like. We must obey the commandments. Sabbath day is still intact. Passover is still intact. Thou shalt do no murders is intact. All these other laws are still intact. That's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.